Greetings to you all. I want to speak to you today about some of the things going on right now in our country, in our world, that I feel requires a perspective adjustment. The attack on the United States Capitol last week from alt-right, MAGA supporter, QAnon, however you want to describe the insurrection, shocked us all and had us look at the president, his supporters, the people who were here in DC, with a level of condemnation, contempt, outrage, and shock. It's all part of the grief cycle and legitimate anger and venting at the invasion and the molestation that occurred to our collective government body. And the feeling of violation is all too real. Coming out of that, though, on social media, I've been seeing a lot of former colleagues of mine, and for 10 years I worked in conservative, libertarian, nonprofit, public policy spaces. Still keep in touch with many, with these really hollow calls for unity, and that all this condemnation and outrage and calls for impeachment would further divide, and that it's time to heal and come together and unify. Now, I'm all one for moving from a place of condemnation to a better feeling state. I think that's essential. We can't live in condemnation. It's not sustainable. It has its place to identify serious problems, but in order to solve and move forward, we do need to go to a better feeling place. And I'm all one for moving to love, and I think moving from condemnation to love is vital. But we have to be precise. We're not talking about love in, well, let's, forgive and forget for most of the people who might have supported last week's riots. Let's come together and not further inflame. Well, guess what? The divide's been created. The divide was inflamed with violence. The condemnation is purposeful and important. And the unity and love that's being called for by some of my former colleagues in these circles is just a mask of niceness. It's, don't let me feel my shame. Let's look somewhere else. There is a way to be in a place of love, and it requires us, there's a principle, and in the Arbinger Institute series of a mindset change, when we talk about two mindsets, there's the inward mindset, which is I'm self-absorbed, I'm self-centered, and in that way other people become objects to me. They become vehicles I use to advance my aims, obstacles in my way that I can blame, or irrelevancies, people I ignore. When I'm outward, I'm seeing the whole person, even if I disagree with them or we're not in sync. I'm seeing their needs, wants, challenges, and dreams, and I'm taking those into account when I'm making decisions, collaborating, all these types of things. But the most important thing to realize is that when I'm outward, when I'm seeing someone, when I'm loving them, when I want what's best for them, that often means I have to have necessary and difficult conversations, holding people accountable, making them aware of the harm they are causing to others and themselves. This is not only good for that person in the long run, and these are conversations people have had with me. I mean, like, Jordan, here's the privilege that you're blind to and upholding and harming with. Here's the language that you're using that is putting down women or poor people. I've been on the receiving end of these conversations, and they're so important to happen because we are blind often to the way that we hurt people. So loving comes from a place of, yes, outward, yes, seeing people as people, but being very honest and being very real with where they're at and how they can improve. And these are the conversations we need to be having with friends and family who might have been supportive of the riots, who are justifying or dismissing the insurrection last week. We need to be honest. The Yoga Sutras, the Yamas, which are 5 principles that tell us and teach us how to live a blissful life. The second one is truthfulness, is honesty, satya. And that means being honest all the time, especially when things aren't going well. Of course, telling people the truth when things are going right and when they're doing an incredible job. But we have a responsibility right now to hold each other accountable, not fall into hollow calls for unity and love, which is not the precise meaning of what some people are calling for right now, and really act from that place of love and do so without enmity or expectation or of shame. And that takes us to be in that seat of love and compassion, even for those who we vehemently disagree with. And sometimes that means honoring that person where they're at. If they keep arguing or justifying, sometimes it means ending a relationship or growing apart. Sometimes it means you have to fire someone. And that is all about honoring the person where they're at, not forcing them to change, giving them the space to change in a way that's helpful to the society of which they're a part. So we can move from condemnation to love, but it's not a blanket kumbaya. It is really seeing with honest eyes what's going on and being willing to have the difficult conversations to get to a place of truth, honesty, and accountability. So those are my words for you today. Go out there, be warriors of light and compassion and honesty, and we will get through this dark period together. Namaste.